Hello and welcome to Edukemy's YouTube channel. My name is Harsh Singh, and in this video we shall discuss the current affairs and gazette for today, that is 20th of January 2022. Before we begin this session, let me welcome all the people here. Good evening Amlan, hi Sam, hi Babani, hello Kriti, hi Anurag, hello Ashish, hi Shireen, good evening to you, welcome, hi Sagarika, hello Netra. We do have many other people participating here. Akhila, good evening to you. Hi Jyotish. And then we have Anonymous, good evening to you. All right, Lost Soul, good evening. Hi Jugnu. Then we do have Khushbu, good evening to you. Hima, never mind, good that you're here. Good evening. Hi Vakram, good evening to all of you. See, today I placed a little tricky question to you people. That is, I wanted some data on agricultural productivity, something that is making Indian agriculture better than before, or the data which would ensure that we are not doing so well in agriculture. And this is the data which will prove whatever points you have. So both of them in sync are needed when we create an answer. And we have a feature article today on the same. I will discuss each of your points there. Right, and I will also approve if your data that you have mentioned is correct or not. So wait for the feature news today, and meanwhile we will begin the session, right? So good evening Ravi, let's begin this. What do we have today? Today we have some important updates for you. The first one is on Special Marriage Act. There is some update here because it was challenged in the court. The provisions of Special Marriage Act, you will find how they are retrograde in nature. There's also in question marital rape. We will not discuss that today. But yes, Special Marriage Act. This is the first one. The second one is new rules to rank the state environment authorities. New rules, and they are controversial. Let's discuss that. And the third one is PM MITRA scheme. MITRA stands for what? What is it related to? Which ministry? So three updates, important updates from the government side here. This day in history dedicated to the day Frontier Gandhi passed away. Feature news for today is on Indian agriculture achievements and challenges. A very interesting, looks like a stereotypical, typical article, but yes, we will cover very interesting aspects of it, and all these data as well will be verified. Not only that, we will also discuss all the three questions from GS paper 3 that came in the examination this time, and we will see if we know sufficiently well enough to be able to answer each three questions or not, right? And this is the reason I asked you the data question, right? So three questions from one paper itself will be easily solved if you understand some nuances. We will work into it today. Image of the day on a goat-headed Yogini, right? Brought back to our country. Terms and concepts. BNPL, buy now, pay later. We'll understand what it is. National Technical Textile Mission, Open Data Week, which is currently in progress, and the river Yamuna. Why polluting so much these days, right? In the last 3 months, it has gotten polluted more than 17 times. It was in news. Why so right now? Editorials, the three of them that we have are: one, online anonymity, the issue of that. The second one is on India's mobile phone sector as compared to China's. And the third one is on city governments, urban governance. The case study is on the person who fought for the cancer patients, Dr. Viswanathan, Shanta. On her first death anniversary, we give her some tribute. All right. So let's start this conversation and discussion, and questions are most welcome. But before that, let me share something important with you. The secret of your future is hidden in your daily routine. And most of you people here, I have seen, are regulars here, right? So regulars, you are very well aware that the secret of your future is somewhere also attached to what we study and what you note down today, right? And this is a great feat that we are able to follow it up every day. What is required is for you to follow it on Saturdays as well. Words can inspire, words that we speak with each other, right? Thoughts can provoke, that we share with each other, but only action truly brings you closer to your dreams. What is the action? The action is the content that you're writing in the chats. The action is what you are doing as a matter of preparation of short notes, ADEC principle, and not only that, quick revision of the same. So that is the action which will actually bring you closer. This is the reality. These are two things. They contribute 0.01% to your success. But eventually, when you get to it, it is your actions, and yes, part of it is here as well, right? So let's begin this conversation. Hi Deepshika. Hi Nikhil. Good evening. And anonymous Amlan and Nikhil, absolutely correct. It is textile sector, PM MITRA scheme. PM MITRA scheme is one of the schemes which is going to contribute to 5% of India's GDP, right? Textile sector contributes to 5% of India's GDP, and it is the second largest employer after agriculture sector. Around 5 crore people directly, indirectly employed with textile sector, right? So cotton sector, textile sector, all of them, right? 5% of GDP and 5 crore of employment. Imagine, we are going to study about that today. So to begin with, let me share a couple of excerpts. They were in the news, not a part of Gazette, but yes, definitely current affairs. Now this is the Mi-17 helicopter, which crashed, right? One of these helicopters that India owned, purchased from Russia, USSR erstwhile. It crashed near Kannur. It took off from Sulur Air Base in Tamil Nadu, carrying the CDS Bipin Rawat and along with him 13 other people. So earlier it was projected as if it was a conspiracy theory, because of which an aircraft of this stature, such an important aircraft in which the premiers, Prime Minister of India, President of India also sit, how can this helicopter crash? So is it LTTE, China, Pakistan? Who is behind this? Is it the technical snag, human error, weather? What was it? And therefore there was a tri-service committee constituted to understand what was the cause of this crash. And they came out with the answer saying it was controlled flight into terrain, CFIT. So let us quickly understand what CFIT means, right? So good evening Ashmita, good evening to you. So what exactly CFIT means is the way the whole aircraft path proceeded towards the crash. Before that, there are two modes in which a flight can usually be it can be flown. So one mode is called as IFR, right, which is according to instrument flight rules. I will explain to you. And the second one is VFR, visual flight rules. Now the first one, which we usually call as autopilot, this is the one in which the whole aircraft is aided through equipments, devices, something that has been put on the ground or is aided through various other devices, radars, satellites, and the pilot need not control anything. Here there is a set trajectory in which the aircraft or the helicopter will move. On the other hand, visual flight rules, VFR, are the one in which the pilot will be administering the aircraft, right? So in this, they can change the course of the path. They can, contingently, they can handle if there is some issue, right? For example, if it is attacking an enemy plane. So this is where we can depend on automated technology and the fighter pilot both. If it is dependent on automated, then it is instrument flight rules. But if it is dependent on the pilot, it is VFR. Now, VFR has to be used when a pilot is the one who is using the aircraft and driving it or riding it or flying it. In this case, the weather has to be clear, at least 1 to 1.5 kilometer, 2 kilometer distance for an helicopter, not for a fighter plane. This must be a clearly visible range. But this day in Kannur, the weather was not so good, right? In fact, there were videos in which the helicopter also went into clouds. And when it goes into clouds, the pilot is not able to see the near distance. There are times when the whole aircraft gets disoriented. Why? Because you can barely try thinking of closing your eyes and seeing if you are aligned, your head is aligned straight or not. This is what happens even more so when an aircraft is in its flight journey, and it is very much possible that the whole aircraft loses its orientation and possibly crashes in a terrain, a nearby mountain or so. This is what happened. Right? So it leads to disorientation of the pilot, and sometimes it is self-induced pressure. The pilots can always return back, right? So in this case, they could have returned back to the Sulur base, but the pilot chose to go ahead with the plan. And this is called as plan continuation bias. It eventually led to the crash, right? So this is called as controlled flight into terrain. This is a mistake. No mistake with the aircraft, no mistake with the technicalities, no technical snag. It is just an error which happened because of the weather conditions at that particular place, right? And this was found out through the black box. All right. Good evening, Dash. All right. So black box. All right, black box, we've studied what this is. Black box is an entity which has two components, right? Two components. So one is the flight data recorder, and the second one is the voice recorder, cockpit voice recorder. Flight data recorder is the one which records data about the speed of the flight, the altitude at which was flying, and the air pressure around it, all those things. Whereas cockpit voice recorder is the one which records what the pilots were speaking amongst themselves, or people with the radio were speaking amongst themselves. So this was found out through the black box. The other update is from the Prime Minister's speech. Why specifically his speech? Because his speeches are written, yahi writing skills hain. There is a special, part of the Prime Minister's office, President's office, which is into publication and writing of speeches. An IAS officer is designated as a head of this. So he recently spoke at a special, conference at Davos. What is happening at Davos right now? World Economic Forum annual summit held in January is being, held there. Davos is a beautiful city. Which is the country? Where is it? Which country? Davos. Please tell me on comments. Right. So he spoke about quite a few things. Excerpts from his speech are very important. So first thing he said is that there is a lifestyle that we have these days, throwaway culture and consumerism. This is aiding climate change and we must get away from it. So he said we must have a people's movement with 3 P's, pro-planet people. That is the movement he spoke of. This is the first thing. The second one, he said that during COVID times, India has aided the whole world technology with unbreakable trust, temperament and talent. Kya baat ho rahi hai? Unbreakable trust through COVID supplies, relief supplies, temperament. See, international issues. Abhi kya ho raha hai na? What is happening in Sudan? What is happening in a country like Ukraine? What is happening in Belarus, Sri Lanka? We have so many other places where there are issues happening. So temperament of India is still calm and composed during these times. Talent example wahi hai, brain drain wala. Third largest pharma producer. Maine nahi bola hai. Prime Minister has said this. And he spoke of one earth, one health. Remember the concept of one health, right? One health concept. We have studied that. And the third one, he said that, Abhi, this is the time to invest in India. There are 50 lakh software engineers working in India. There are more than 60,000 startups in our country. And more than 10,000 startups got registered in the last 6 months because of COVID times. So, Abhi, jiske paas hai opportunity, please utilize it. Prime Minister bhi yahi bol rahe hain. So, example are drone technology, space, geospatial mapping, CoWIN app, and digital public goods. Okay? So, this is about the Prime Minister. Let's start with our conversation on the gazette currents. All right, what you've discussed there. So, yes, the first one is Special Marriage Act. Now, this Marriage Act was passed in the year 1954. Special Marriage Act. So, क्यों इसको special बोलते हैं? Switzerland, absolutely guys, absolutely. Davos in Switzerland, all of you, Lost Soul, Bhabani, Sagarika, Nikhil, Hima, absolutely correct. So, Special Marriage Act was introduced to ensure that people of any community could marry with each other. Abhi kya hai ki the Marriage Act, Personal Marriage Acts, they say only a Muslim can marry a Muslim, only a Hindu can marry a Hindu. So bhai, when the Personal Marriage Acts are not responsible for authorizing the marriage of interfaith people, who will? So government in 1954 said we will create ये यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड की तरफ it is indicative. So यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड के अंदर this Special Marriage Act says that people from any community, they can marry each other, and government is the one which will authorize a marriage like this, solemnize a marriage like this. And not only this, along with this, the people from not only various religions but various countries, right? One of them has to be an Indian, of course, and this is how Special Marriage Act was instituted, right? And Special Marriage Act में एक provision था. The provision said, see, the prime difference between special marriage and the customary Indian marriage is this. This is only an example. There are other kind of customary marriages in India also. So only an example. So the point being, here the Pandit or Maulvi Sahib or the priest in the church, these are the people who solemnize this marriage. And there is a community which sits, and they are the ones which say, yes, we have accepted them as the married couple. They belong to each other. Now, this is the traditional form of marriage in which the whole society acknowledges that, yes, we have approved the groom in a way, and we know that there is no issue with these people. They were not married earlier. इनकी शादी अलग से नहीं हुई थी. इनकी 2 पत्नियां 3 पत्नियां नहीं हैं. इनके 2 husband नहीं है. ऐसा नहीं है. Right? So this is how society accepts this. But when Special Marriage Act came into being, it placed certain rules. For example, one has to submit documents. First of all, one has to submit documents to the marriage officer, usually an SDM rank officer or in a marriage registrar office. So they have to submit some documents, and the second thing is that they have to verify these documents, go to the office, and after that they have to serve a 30-day notice that nobody has an objection to this. अगर शादी publicly होती है, in that case objection is put in, शादी में ही, right? If you would have seen Hindu marriages में नहीं होता है, people come and say नहीं ये शादी मैं नहीं होने दूंगा. So वो publicly it happens, but when it is Special Marriage Act, how will they serve this notice? They will serve a 30-day notice, and if people object to it, then they will come and say to registrar that there is a fraud happening, do not approve this marriage. This is why this 30-day notice period was instituted in the beginning. Shah Rukh Khan also has a similar story, right? When he was about to marry Madam Gauri, so he had to serve this notice, and in this time he has said in many of these speeches that he would try to evade the public spaces. इसमें घर का भी एड्रेस देना है, one has to give their photograph also. There are various conditions, and in many ways this is now being used against the people who want to marry. How? Once they go to marriage registrar, there are incidences where the registrar office people only, they say, why are you doing this marriage? Not required. We will notify your home in case you're doing this. You can't do this. Although you're adults, but you can't do this interfaith marriage. And this is disturbing the people. It was supposed to be a peaceful thing, but it is not so, right? Not only this, there are some states where proactive steps are taken to, formally, informally. So, for example, Haryana and Maharashtra, these are the states where some of the marriages, these special marriages, they have to be publicized in the newspaper for the 30-day period, right? So, if you remember Khap Panchayat and all, right? And then there are places where the people marrying have to take approval from their parents, although being adults. So, this has been questioned. Samajh gaye? So, this is the theme, right? Because this is impeding the independence of the adults, and more so in these times when when interfaith marriages are only growing in our country, right? People are not discriminating on the basis of what religion they were born in, what community they were born in. They just marry, right? This is something which is very much now accepted in a country like USA, because there the color differences, the community differences don't matter. This is the right to privacy and right to marry, right to autonomy. Right, but example of Maharashtra and Haryana, they don't talk like that, right? So this is the reason it has been questioned in the court of law कि भैया change तो चाहिए यहाँ पर, right? So this is the update here. All right, that's why in news. So what does this serve as for you? News तो आप जान गए. What does it serve to you? This serves you as an example of a retrograde law. Retrograde law. I also told you the basics behind it, right? The intention was good, so that there is no fraud in the marriage, but yet it is not leading to what it was intended for. So there should be some penalty in case people's autonomy is not respected, and there should be ways in which privacy also should be handled. How to do it? It is for the government, the court to handle this. All right, ठीक है? तो हंस क्यों रहे हो? Will it be nullified? See, Ashish, there are good question you have. So can't two people of different religion marry through a religious personal marriage act? Religious personal marriage act भाई अभी तो नहीं है, अभी यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड वैसा नहीं है कि two people of different communities can marry through the approval of pandit, maulvi or priest. Right now it says you convert and you get into the personal marriage act. But in case you don't want to convert, remain of your faith, the government will provide this. But government is not providing in many ways. See, when you ask a question, will it be nullified? I would like to ask you, will we nullify the laws, for example, laws which are retrograde in nature against the females in India? So what about marital rape? A good question, right? Arguments provided in its favor. What about the law which is on restitution on conjugal rights? I keep on speaking on this, restitution on conjugal rights. So these are retrograde laws and it will take a while. What about laws on homosexuality? Right? So will they be nullified? So let's wait and watch, right? Because our society also, progresses with time. It is not a sudden thing. It is only an evolution. We laugh on your dialogue. Marriage नहीं होने देंगे. Okay. तो ये तो है reality है. This is a part of the reality of our society. Second one is on new rules to rank the SEIAA. What is SEIAA? State Environment Impact Assessment Authority of all the states. Now let me show you an image here. Yes. Now look at this image. This is the image of a place which was earlier a forest area, and later on a part of it was utilized for excavation, mining and quarrying, right? So environmental impact assessment, social impact assessment, all of it was supposed to done by the state government and by the central government, and it approved, and they further went ahead with this project. Now the government right now, central government says that we will approve those kind of projects. We will rank states. Yes, we will rank the states on the basis of the fact that that state is approving the EIA nod how soon. So agar if they approve within 30 days, oh, good ranking. Within 90 days, lesser ranking. So this is one. I'm stating the facts first. After that, I will state what are the issues with it. So first, timeline. Jaldi approve karo. Right? Approve fast, you will get rated fast. Right? The second one is number of projects, proportion of projects which have been approved. If they are more, the states will be ranked better. Not only that, there is another provision which says that if you ask fewer details from the private authority which are going to mine here, if you ask for fewer details, that means lesser bureaucratic hurdles, then we will rank you better, right? Kya cheez mein? In ease of doing business, all right. Now, the question that have been raised by environmental activists is that what is the job of EIA? The job of environmental impact assessment is to assess what is the environmental damage, what is the damage to environment and people here in the near or far term. But agar aap isko bol rahe ho that we will give you incentives if you clear this assessment beforehand, then this is a conflict of interest, right? So this is not done. This is what has been stated by many environmental activists. Now here at the corner, this is a DM's office, right? Ideally a DM's office, this is what it would look like. So what is happening here is that I would like to share one more conflict of interest. What happens in an office is that, see, the state also does not approve most of the projects. Many projects, the smaller projects, they are under the DM, under the district magistrate, district commissioner, who you will become once you keep studying well, and which you are doing already. Very good. So point being is that the central government approves the bigger projects, the biggest ones, infrastructure, road infrastructure, etc. The mining projects are mostly approved by the state government, and then the the lower, smaller projects are cleared by the district administration. So we have a district environmental impact assessment authority, and by default it is the DM who is the chairperson of this, right? Now they are DMs if they are inspecting a project to ensure if it is causing environmental harm. This is one aspect of it. The other aspect of it is that if they clear the project, then they will be good rapport with the state government, central government, ki chalo approve kiya and economic development will happen. So this is the kind of conflict of interest, and this is the reason that DMDC may not or should not become the chair of a committee like this, right? Assessment committee, right? So you see the conflict of interest. Yesterday there was a question asked by one of you, Amlan, that is that what happens in case of the environment and development debate? What happens there? See, this is not so good example. This is where we see environment and environment and economy ka debate, right? So not the best example where we are approving these ranking of states on the basis of the proportion of projects they clear, right? This is what is in news. This is what we have explained here. Yahan marks mil rahe hain aapko. You are getting better marks if you grant the projects faster. So not to name usually, but right now it was in the news, so I am just naming the ex-environmental minister Prakash Javadekar. Under him, the number of days for clearance of a project, it reduced down from 110 to 75. This is the point. So jaldi clear karo, that state will get better marks, right? So this is the contention, right? Why you don't have to remember this. You really don't have to remember. The point is the three parameters: the number of projects clear, or proportion of projects clear, the number of days it took to clear, and the least number of questions asked, right? These three data you remember, bus, right? Concerns, you know it already, right? So good being with me. We will learn together and we'll grow together, all right? The third one is PM MITRA. Guys, rightly spoken, it is the mega integrated textile region and apparel park scheme, right? So we have initiated this project in India, and we are granting a lot of money multiple ways. See, earlier people, and अभी भी यही हो रहा है कि people are using hand looms, and if you remember, I had explained to you the whole supply chain of how textile is created, right? If you remember, we spoke about the fabric. Do you guys remember that? जब कोविड में घर पे था तो I had explained you ना, before the formation of the fabric, the seed would be separated out from the fiber, the seed and fiber, and then if it is separated out and then it forms the what is the word? Do you guys remember? Do you remember the supply chain, or do I have to explain? All right. So earlier the whole process was hand driven, right? Hand driven. But now it is getting converted into automated. Why? Because our competitors are doing far better. We are importing products from Vietnam, Cambodia, Bangladesh, and illegally also through Pakistan, and we are using it in India because they are far cheaper than us. Labor is cheaper, technology is more efficient, and they are exporting at a far economical prices, better than even China. So India, which is the employer to around 5 crore people in textile sector, employer to 5% of India's GDP creation, has said, let us mechanical, let us make it mechanical, let us make it automated. So these are the mega textile parks, right? And this is how these industries are created, right? So the idea has been to initiate 5F. If you can see this, the 5 F's are farm to fiber, farm to fiber to factory to fashion to foreign, right? Farm to fiber, farm, from farm, pick it up to creation of fiber, to taking it to the factory, to using it for the right fashion, tailoring it, and to selling it abroad. So beautiful 5 words for textile sector. आपका cover हो जाएगा, बहुत impress हो जाएगा examiner अगर ये डालोगे तो, ठीक है? So the government has now notified certain rules कि how the mega textile parks will be created. What are the instructions for this? So the guidelines are something like this कि आपके पास एरिया ज्यादा होना चाहिए. You should have a ready-made ecosystem for labor management. You should have connectivity to sites, better connectivity. You should have existing ecosystem, as I mentioned, utility services, right? Textile policy and environment social impact assessment अच्छा होना चाहिए. So these are few criteria. Government has also said, given some ratings, right? 25, 20, 20 ऐसे करके they are given. Don't have to remember these. ये data नहीं, data ये है. Connectivity to site. I will tell you what the data is here. Data is the 5% of GDP. Data is employment of what was it? What was the proportion of employment? How do I forget suddenly? इतना मेरे को याद रखना पड़ता है. मैं clear कर लूँगा exam. हाँ? So this is one. The other part of it is that they are using the challenge method. The challenge method in this, they are selecting through a very competitive pricing. They want that more the competition, the better the kind of people who will be able to participate in this PPP, public-private partnership. So first is the approval of the land, creation of a detailed project report, DPR, and this is the first part. The second part is giving them more investment to be able to set up the whole ecosystem, right? So these are the two parts in which the project will follow. The keyword here is development capital support after granting of the project, and the second keyword is competitive incentive support. ये use करना है आप लोगों को. This is what will give you the edge over others, right? These two keywords here: development capital support and competitive incentive support. If you use these words, this will give you the edge over many other people who are attempting the exam, right? Competitive incentive support is if you're able to sell more or gain more revenue, a certain fragment of the revenue that you sold for, that will be a part of the incentive, right? Incentive to be provided to manufacturing units up to 3% of total sales. Incentive, taxation कम लगेगा, यही सब, right? So this is the word for you, competitive incentive support. All right, and know this, ये सबको पता है. So many people will be a participant of this video. So many people would have seen the news also from many other sources. But point being, how many of you are able to write this down and remember this for your exam? Competitive incentive support. This competitive incentive support is not only there for this scheme. This is what is called as production linked incentive. No, यही तो PLI का part होता है. Competitive, अगर if you are more competitive in the market, if you're selling more, you will get more incentive. So these keywords, right? Use it for any other projects also. चलेगा chalega. This is the point. All right, and this is how they will approve the thing, right? All right, this day in history dedicated to 5 crore people. Absolutely great. 5% of GDP, 10% of export, and 15% of industrial production. Amlan, very good, very good. Ashmita says handloom and parloom. Very nice, very good. All right, this day in history dedicated to Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan. Who was he? Frontier Gandhi, follower of non-violent movement in the country, survived for 97 years, and he passed away on 20th of January, today itself, right? The day declared here, I think it is by mistake 30th of January. That was not the day. 30th January for who? 30th January is, I think, National Martyrs Day, isn't it? Declared for whom? All right. So Frontier Gandhi, also known as, his followers also called as Khudai Khidmatgars, and these people followed non-violent movement. They didn't want India, Pakistan to get separated, but yet the countries got separated. He stayed. He chose to live in Pakistan in Northwest Frontier Province region only. And something little more about him is that he was also arrested quite a few times by the Pakistan government because he had, far more liberal ideologies than what the government of Pakistan promoted. All right, peaceful man, Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan, and a very good friend to Gandhiji. Gandhiji, absolutely, Mr. Gandhi. So, feature news for today on Indian agriculture achievements and challenges. We will understand very, very interesting article, right? We will also cover today the 3 questions that were asked in the UPSC exam. How could you have done that by just being a part of this current affairs session? What could have been possible? We will understand that. So, what is image of the day? It is goat-headed Yogini. It was lost. Goat-headed Yogini. It was lost from one of the temples in our country in Madhya Pradesh and found in UK. Wow. And then now it has now been returned back to our country. All right. So, great achievement. Great achievement. We are getting back these items, these idols, these archaic and primitive idols which cost phenomenally high. And Hawala transactions are done through these kind of entities. Let me show you the image of what is this image? Can anybody tell me what is this image? What is this image of? I would like you to look at the examination paper for essay paper. Now, chimera is the word, right? If you remember, one of the examination essay paper asked about chimera, right? Materialism is chimera. So goat-headed Yogini जो इंडिया में है, वो chimera यहाँ पर in the ancient, European world, head would be a lion's head, goat's body, and a snake's tail. Something which is very ideal, which has never existed in reality, right? So chimera, this is what is chimera. Mithya, इसको commonly हिंदी में बोलेंगे mithya, something which has no existence. So this is chimera, which I got reminded of seeing the goat-headed Yogini. All right. So Yoginis are a group of powerful female divinities associated with tantric mode of worship. Okay, ठीक है, understood. Lion, goat, snake. The word I told you, right? Chimera. All right, Akhila, great. Babani, Sagarika, all right. But you should look at the title. Now, terms and concept. The first term for today is buy now, pay later. Abhi few months back, I went ahead to buy some products from Reliance Digital for myself. And there came a person, says, sir, would you like to take, this on, interest-free repayment, and you can, have a long-term finance for this. Do you want to finance this product? So it was for 10,000 rupees, and I felt that I could purchase it in one go. I had created a budget for this. So I went, but he further said, sir, it is on 0% interest. And I was shocked. You know why? Because when I'm paying 1,000 rupees per month, 1k rupees per month for 10 months, तो ये तो मेरा ही फायदा है. What is the advantage to a company like Bajaj Finance or Bajaj Fin Services who are financing a product like this for me with 0% interest? and they have not even known my credit worthiness. They have not known my CRISIL score. How is it possible? This is what is called as buy now, pay later. अभी खरीदो, पैसे बाद में ले लेंगे. कैसे ले लेंगे नहीं पता. So this is where shadow banks, these are called as shadow banks. लोन दे देते हैं, exactly बैंक नहीं होता है, पता नहीं चलता है कैसे हो रहा है, right? So there is an informal network as well, but there is a formal structure also. This is how the formal structure is penetrating the informal world, right? Refinancing. So the RBI has sought details of this arrangement with e-commerce players. Abhi this is not only happening in Reliance Digital, it is also happening when we look at online players, right? Amazon mein you purchase the product and dhire dhire we keep paying. So this is where RBI is scrutinizing. The keyword here is buy now, pay later itself. I have told you what it is about. National Technical Textile Mission. See, this is a specific group of textiles which are technical in nature, right? Just few days back, we studied one of the important innovations by Indian agencies, defense agencies. What they did was they created a complete textile which was to be used for a very, very low temperature, high altitude regions in Ladakh region. And we saved $3 billion plus. $3 billion plus because we would not be importing them, we would be creating them in India. This is called as technical textile. So textile which is for high altitude, which is fire resistant, which is for special purposes, armed forces. Abhi armed forces ka bhi uniform change hua hai na? I have not covered that. I will. So point being that this textile mission is very good considering the innovations that India will produce, considering the export potential that India will have through this, considering the ecosystem in which it will be produced, right? We will also try to conserve water, air, energy, efficiency in cost of production, all of this. So do remember this as a very good initiative under the textile sector only. Abhi Mega Textile Park, when we spoke of this particular scheme, MITRA scheme, so why can't we utilize MITRA scheme for initiating this as well? Okay. Firefighting, high temperatures, low temperatures, mechanical, people, scuba diving, armed forces, air force pilots, right? And what about the people who go to space suits, all of them. Technical textiles. Open Data Week. All right. Without knowing the CIBIL score. Yes, Somik. Yeah, Flipkart, Chimera. Absolutely, guys. I would like you to look at that topic once. All the 8 topics, in fact. All right. All right, going ahead. Open Data Week. Open Data Week is, it is going right now. What is this open data about? So open data is that data which is available for everybody to use. Everybody to use. If you remember, we had spoken about digital public goods. Yaad hai? Digital public goods, feature news mein we had covered. These are those goods which could be used by all the public. And they are digital in nature. Kya hai example? Finance transactions, provided they are approved by people. Non-personal data, how many people ride cabs, how many people are and what time they are ordering food online, how many of us are going to movie theaters. All this is, if it is available in public sphere, open data, we are going to create better products for people, right? And India is one of the countries which is doing really well in financial openness of the data, right? So this is the Open Data Week, where we are also trying to have an ecosystem in which we have an open data management for urban areas, transport system, right? Time taken for movement, pollution at places, right? So pollution wala I myself monitor pollution. Why? Because I see if I have to go for a run, which I am not going these days. So is morning time more polluted or evening time more polluted? Is Delhi more polluted or Noida or Gurgaon? Where should I stay? What? So these are the kind of things that people, and if somebody is providing me services on this, better services, I will also take it, right? 5 rupees mere ko de do pure saal ka information, I will take it. Similarly, a lot of other things, for example, just example, where are the hospitals associated with me, right? Closer to me. What about cafes? What about energy systems, right? Where can I take my vehicle for recharging? Example here. So Open Data Week. Okay? Relatability for you. Pollution in river Yamuna. In Yamuna, we have covered this pollution, no? The frothing of Yamuna because of industrial pollutants, increase in nitrogen, increase in ammonia, NH3, increasing all of this. But there's a reason why it got polluted extra, more than required in the last 3 months, more than 17 times. And it led to increase in the coliform in Yamuna, BOD, biological oxygen demand. right? BOD, COD, all of them, they tell about the gravity of situation of, the presence of oxygen in the particular water body. So the reason for this that happened right now is that this is the time of winter, and this indicates two things. One is that the sewage treatment plant, STP bolte hain har jagah, remember this keyword, sewage treatment plant, they are not working effectively. That is why the coliform discharge is high, right? So municipal sewage, the liquid sewage disposal is high because they are not working well. And second reason, which is more active during winters, is the climate, the cold climate. What happens in a cold climate is that the river's capacity to rejuvenate itself, it decreases, and because of this, the bacteria which could have actually gotten reduced because of river's rejuvenation and resurgence capacity, that bacteria is still surviving, coliform is still surviving, creating issues for Yamuna. Okay, okay. Okay, what do we have for today's editorials? All right, let me cover the third one first. Anonymity on internet, right? So when people are online on internet, many of us are online. See, this was one of the I would like to share this part. So when people are online on internet, right, they could be anonymous, and they could be through their actual profile as well. Many of us through actual profiles, many of us anonymous here, right? One of us is anonymous right amongst us today itself, right? They're named anonymous. The point is, what is the reason that many people want to become anonymous online? So one reason, without offending anybody, please don't get offended. This is an editorial giving perspectives into us, into societal behavior. So one reason here is that people want to express themselves without hesitation. They do not want to get judged on the basis of their name, on the region of the region which they belong to. They do not want to feel impeded, or they do not want to get related to their actual life, right? Example, or personal life. Example leta hu. Example, just an example. If Modi ji wants to participate with us in the conversations, किस दिन current affairs के video देख रहे आए हैं, and if he is giving an opinion on certain things, and we know it is Mr. Modi, Prime Minister of India, he may not want that his actual or personal details, that we know that he is Mr. Modi, he is representing his opinion, but unke opinion to represent ho jaye. So these are some of the reasons, but some of the reasons are also that people express their grievances, their concerns, their angst against the government. So this is one. Or other individuals. This is another one. So the editorial says that yes, it's fine that people do it, and there are many ecosystems which are providing this behavior, right? We can, for example, Facebook itself, Twitter itself, many other platforms in which the actual profile can be put there. However, the person can select a username, a different username. Chalega na, koi problem nahi hai. Nobody will come to know who it is. So it is fine to preserve the autonomy or privacy of that person. But please note, many of the online, fake information, many of the indecent activities committed online, abusing each other on space, or giving threats, they happen through fake profiles only, right? Not all fake profiles are such, but many of the profiles are such. Not only that, the other point that it was mentioned was that since we are not able to relate that person to the actual world, their office space, their home space, it leaves for no other way but the judicial or legal recourse to seek a grievance. For example, we ourselves were a little skeptical when we were going live. We thought, ye to puri duniya ko dikhega, right? And people might come here to obstruct the whole process that we are, this beautiful process that we have started, to obstruct it. But what is the recourse to it? How do we handle this? But thankfully, all of you are as good as you could be, best of yourself, the best of me. So I'm really thankful to all of you, because our ecosystem is such beautifully bound. We are all together going ahead, right? Only learning things. So only legal recourse is left. So this is why it says that, there must be some way in which this should be tackled, right? The menace, not the good part, only the menace, right? All right, this is the first editorial. The second editorial is pointing at the governance in the city regions, right? So we have 3 levels of governance. One is the central government, and then we have the state government, and then we have the urban and local bodies. urban bodies and rural bodies, right? 73rd Amendment Act, 74th Amendment Act, 1992, 1993. Now, although functions were delegated to these local bodies, many functions were delegated by state to them, but the funds were not delegated. So remember the 3 F's: funds, functions, and functionaries. है ना? फंक्शन है काम, फंड्स है पैसे, एंड फंक्शनरी है काम करने वाला, कार्यकर्ता. They don't have many functionaries, right? They don't have funds at all, but they have a lot of functions delegated to them. The idea is to provide them more funds also, delegation of more funds, direct taxation. Direct tax collect karo, ya state appropriates more tax to these local bodies, and this is what is happening in states like Kerala. This is what is happening in many European countries, Scandinavian countries, and due to which these places are more progressive because of grassroots level empowerment, right? This is what RBI, 15th Finance Commission, all of them have stated the same thing. सबको यही बोलते हैं, financial devolution. So this is what this first one is on. The second one is on the lessons for Indian economy. What is it? Yes, Kriti, very good. Reddit is one place, Skora is another place. We have Glassdoor. We have many other places where people could be from anonymous platforms, but that's fine. Yeah. All right. This is not to hurt anybody anonymous. I think I should apologize here. I'm sorry if I have pointed out anything. This is not about you. You are one of the best amongst all of us here, right? So please, this is not for anybody in particular. Hima Yadav, VPN, virtual private network, absolutely. The third one is on mobile phone sector and India's economy. I read one of the reports. It stated that India's economy is not performing well. One of the reasons is the kind of tariff and taxation that we impose on the incoming goods. This leads to a lot of issues in the supply chain, because India, I will show you a data on the kind of imports that we have. A reasonable number of imports that we have is of intermediate goods or capital goods. A capital good kya hai? These are those goods on the basis of which we are going to create something. For example, bread making device. For example, iron industry ka machinery. On the basis of that, we will build, iron coaches, right? Or maybe thin sheets, malleable sheets. So these, if we are taxing them more, that means we are going to create increasing price for all the goods being produced later. If we are taxing the coffee maker, if we are taxing the bread maker more while importing, then bread ka cost automatically will rise, no? So this is one of the reasons why Indian economy is not doing well. Another reason, specifically for mobile phones. Okay, before that, there was a time when Chinese economy was not as good as India was. In 1940s and 50s, if you remember, I had known this, the Chinese premier was carried by Air India flight because they didn't have sufficient number of planes for their movement to be able to conduct international summits. This was China's status in 1950s, 40s and 50s. And not very far from now, 1983, both the countries' GDP were at the same level, India and China both. But look at how aggressively China initiated its export policy, its manufacturing policy. India is majorly oriented towards agriculture and service sector, but China focuses itself towards manufacturing sector. We will understand that in the feature news today. What is the difference? Right? And now India is focusing on manufacturing, because this is where lies the base, manufacturing base of the country. So China focused on this, and this is the reason that we see difference that we see in mobile industry as well. One of the most skyrocketing industries. India is only at marginal levels, but China is moved so far ahead. Mobile phone sector has lessons for Indian industry, right? Right. So coming to the last section, which is on the case study. And before we get into it, if you like this initiative, if you like our efforts, share some love through likes, comments, and subscribe. If you subscribe to the channel, you will receive timely updates for many such interesting videos. This is only everyday video, right? But there are so many of them which we keep scheduling, and you will receive notifications for them, right? And I was told that there is a stats about our YouTube channel, Edukemy's YouTube channel. It is just that amongst the watchers, amongst the viewers of our channel, only 5% people have subscribed to the channel. Rest of the 95% people, they come, look at the video and go ahead and go back. Not that it is creating a problem, but then you do not receive timely notifications, 95% of all the viewers. So subscription is more important. This one is free of cost, no? Right? Okay. So and why do you have to like the video? You'll have to like the video because we put a lot of efforts, yeah, right? So ekdam like karne ka hai, right? These are the blessings that we receive, and these are the indicators through which we understand how many of you are actually interested, how many of you actually like this initiative, because then we will put in more efforts, more rigor. We will also introduce other elements. For example, we have introduced this small segment for answer writing for yourself, but we are going to initiate a segment. It is in my plan, and I have to propose this, that we need a platform, a better platform where we have, prompt answer writing. Right now, I give you 10 minutes to be able to, frame your answers, and you look at each of your answers. So this 10 minutes is the time in which you have to complete the answer. I should ask you to write within 2 minutes. But do you know there is a lag between our conversation? There is a 10-second, 5 to 10 second to 8-second lag between our conversation. So I receive your answers late, and there's an effective 20-second lag, because when I tell you, there is a lag, and when you respond back, there's another lag. Right? So point being, you have to like this initiative so that we come up with something far more interesting on the similar lines. If you like it, if there are inputs, please do provide them. All right, great, and thank you. All right, moving ahead. Case study of today is on Mrs. Shanta. So she was one of the oncologist person who has researched very much on cancer. And in her career, which spanned well over 60 years, she has taken huge number of initiatives in the cancer research and helping cancer patients in our country. She, in 1950s, she did her, the studies in the same field of medicine. And after that, she even shifted her base towards the research center. She would not live outside. She was available 24/7 to people, right? So, and she built a complete empire of medical industry around the cancer therapy. So beautiful lady. She passed away last year. It is her first death anniversary, and that is why an article was present in the Hindu. We felt this could inspire a person like you, all of you. Why? Because I believe, I have gone through this phase, and I believe that only a life lived for others is the life truly fulfilled. She has done that, and all of you preparing for the exam are doing exactly that. You want to live a life to help others, to serve others. And this is why a beautiful quote, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others, humanity. Mahatma Gandhi, all of us, right? And she also has received the second most prestigious award in our country, Padma Bhushan and later Padma Vibhushan, both of them. So definitely would have done something really marvelous. Yes, but before ending this and getting on to the feature news immediately, let me share with you something about Mr. Khan, Abdul Ghaffar Khan, right? So what about him is that this gentleman also received India's highest honorary civilian award. He received Bharat Ratna as well, a Pakistani national receiving Bharat Ratna. All right, so another fact for yourself. So let me quickly read the comments and then move ahead. All right, what are you people saying here? Lost Soul says, sir, please explain what open data governance is. Open data governance, see, once we create data, once we create this data, there has to be a platform where all this data is uploaded. It is available for anybody to use. Example, Wikipedia. Example, there are random examples, VLC Media Player. Example, the Adobe Acrobat Reader. Everybody can use it. Everybody can use Wikipedia. So can we have a space where all the data is available, not editable, but people can access it and create various resources, right? Governance can be done through this. Governance with the help of government or with private agencies. So this is what is open data governance, right? We have created so many financial goods now with the help of open data governance. For example, one example of telecom sector is, if you remember, there was a time in which for using our mobile phones and having these technology services, we would have to wait for 2 days for the SIM card to get approved. That was one time. And now we are in a time where merely through our fingerprints, we authorize that we are us and you authorize our phone number. Is it not so? It is because the Aadhaar data has been mapped, and private agencies can access this data and authenticate it. They will not be able to access the resource, but they have the access to ensure that it authenticates. This is what is called as open data governance. All right, a good example of it. All right. Amlan says it will reduce import from 9 billion to 6 billion. See, so 3 billion of profit for Indians. Bhabani says Airtel marathon participant. Yes, I am an Airtel marathon participant, but how would you know that? I have done it 9 times, Airtel half marathon and Mumbai marathon 5 times. Kriti says East establishment of industries, restaurant services related to market demand clusters. Good. I like the language quite a few of you use. Look at the word clusters, market demand clusters. Amazing. BOD, COD, SOMIC. Absolutely correct. Anonymous. All right. All right. Harsh Singh, another Harsh here with us. Good evening to you as well. And then we have, I to apologize. Okay. Unless we will be in manufacturing sector, we will be lagging. Yes, Tomik, we will be lagging if we are not in manufacturing sector. We'll discuss that in the subsequent feature news today itself. Last one, sir, this anonymity is opted only to escape. All right. Yes, lost soul, I understand. Nothing to worry. I understand. Akhila says, surely, sir. And then we have Babani will replace you. Yes. Yeah, Amlan, we are rising. The fleet is rising. Yes, subscriptions have risen right now. All right. So yes, we will move quickly, 1 minute, and we'll move to the other video, right? So thank you for being a participant. Notes, ADEC principle, highly recommended for you to get through. I will share that in the next video, the utility of ADEC, right? Because I today could see how you were, many of you were, half-hearted in giving some inputs on data, on agriculture, right? So we'll discuss this. Thank you for participating. See you in the other video. Thank you.